Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive? Today, we're tackling the work of AI expert Elias Kouloures.
Oh, this should be interesting. I've glanced at some of his stuff. Really
hmm
dives into some big picture questions.
He does. Like, how can humanity, as a whole, really level up technologically? He uses this scale, the Kardashev scale.
Right, right. It's a way of measuring how advanced a civilization is, like based on how much energy they can harness.
Exactly. Think like harnessing the power of a star, that kind of scale. But where are we now?
Well, according to Kouloures, humans are stuck at a pretty measly level like zero point 0.7.
Not exactly painting us as a super advanced species, are we?
Nope. And he actually digs into why we're stuck. He's identified these three main challenges.
Lay it on me.
Okay, so first we've got scientific stagnation. Second, the world, well, kind of seems to be getting worse, not better. And third, organizations just can't seem to keep up with how fast technology is changing.
It's interesting, those three challenges, how he ties them together, because honestly, it can feel like we're just running in place, like you said.
Totally. And you know what I appreciate about Kouloures? He gets super specific about these challenges. It's not just vague doom and gloom.
Yeah, give me an example.
Okay, like we still haven't figured out consciousness, right? For the origin of the universe. And get this, we can't even stop socks from disappearing in the laundry.
Okay, gotta admit, I feel personally attacked by that last one.
Yeah.
But you're right, it is fascinating how he connects those everyday problems to these huge questions about, like, existence.
Right. And then on the organizational side, it's stuff we see all the time. Employees are less and less engaged, the economy feels shaky, and it's that constant feeling of like technology is changing faster than we can adapt.
It's overwhelming. But the good news is Kouloures doesn't just point out the problems, he actually offers solutions.
Exactly. He explores these three different paths that organizations can take to like upgrade themselves using AI.
Hit me with the three paths.
Okay, so path one is go with the big tech giants, right? The Amazons, the Microsofts of the world. Path two, take a gamble on one of those cutting-edge AI startups. And path three, go open source.
Intriguing. And I'm sensing a favorite here, based on what I've read. He's a pretty big advocate for those open source AI frameworks, right?
Big time. He's all about them offering the most control, flexibility, and this is huge, making sure you're not stuck with outdated tech in a few years. Future-proofing, basically.
Smart. But he didn't stop at just talking about it, he actually walked the walk.
Right. He built a working system, open source, in 15 days.
Whoa, 15 days. That's impressive. Talk about putting your money where your mouth is.
Absolutely. And that's where things get really exciting because he didn't just build it, he actually uses it to solve real problems.
Okay, I'm officially hooked. So let's break down these three paths, starting with, corporate AI, those big tech players. What did Kouloures discover when he looked into companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Google, even Alibaba?
Well, he really dug deep, analyzed all their strengths, all their weaknesses, and some of what he found was surprising.
Like what? Spill the tea.
Okay, so you know Amazon. Everyone thinks they're so innovative, but guess what? They had the most data breaches out of everyone he looked at.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's surprising.
I know, right? And on the flip side, Alibaba. 0 data breaches. 0.
Wow. I mean, that's remarkable, especially considering how much data Alibaba handles.
It really shows that, sometimes bigger doesn't automatically mean better when you're talking security.
For sure. What else did he find?
Well, when it comes to, like, how easy these systems are to use, he found some interesting stuff there, too.
Okay, I'm all ears.
So for companies that are already, like, deep in the Microsoft ecosystem, he found that, yeah, their AI stuff can be pretty easy to integrate.
Makes sense.
But he actually thinks that Google is pushing the boundaries a lot more. Like, they're the ones really innovating.
That tracks, I guess. Google has always been so deep into AI research. But okay, so far we've been talking about the good stuff. What about the downsides? What are the cons of going with these big tech companies?
Oh, yeah. There are always downsides. Kouloures highlighted a couple of big ones. First, cost. These systems can get seriously expensive.
Oof. Yeah, that's always a factor.
And then second, the complexity. Just setting them up can be a nightmare. Lots of headaches involved.
I can only imagine.
And then there's the big one,
Control?
control.
Yeah, you're basically locked into their ecosystem, right? You don't get much say in how things are customized or how they develop in the future.
So you're trading off like flexibility and control for the convenience of going with a name you know. Interesting.
There's definitely something to consider.
It is. Okay, so we've talked about big tech. What about those trendy AI startups? That's got to be tempting for some companies.
Boy, it's super tempting. Especially if you want to be on the bleeding edge,
Yeah.
be the cool kid on the block, using the latest tech, all that. Right. Like working with a company like OpenAI or Anthropic,
Yeah,
it feels exciting. But Coolers had some thoughts there too, right?
he did. He brought a healthy dose of realism to that whole conversation.
So what's the reality check? What are some of those downsides to going with a startup?
Well, he found that a lot of these startups, even though they've got great ideas, they don't actually have that many features yet. They're still developing.
Ah, okay. So you might be limited in what you can do.
Right. And then on top of that, they might not have the kind of support that a big company would expect. That reliable, always there kind of support.
Yeah, that enterprise-grade support, it makes a difference.
Absolutely. And then there's the risk factor.
Risk.
Yeah, like, what if that startup isn't around in a couple of years?
Huh?
Startups are unpredictable.
Oh, true. It's like investing in a risky stock. You could win big, or you could lose everything.
Exactly.
Okay, so that brings us to Kouloure's favorite, the open source option. Tell me why he's such a huge fan.
I'm ready to gush about open source. But first, speed and cost effectiveness. Remember how he built that whole system in just 15 days?
Yeah, 15 days.
Well, the financial investment was tiny. Less than 50 euros. Seriously.
No way. Less than 50 euros for all of that.
Yep. It really shows you that this stuff isn't just for, big companies with tons of money. Even a small business, even an individual can do this.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got speed, we've got cost. What else makes open source so great?
Okay, so Kouloures is big on modularity and flexibility. Basically, you're not stuck with just one company's stuff. You can pick and choose the pieces you want, the pieces that fit your needs.
Ah, so it's like building with Legos. You're not stuck with a pre-made model. You can build whatever you want.
Exactly. And you've got the freedom to, change things as you go, tweak it, customize it, really make it your own.
I love that. Okay, now I have to admit, thinking about the technical side of all this can get a little overwhelming. Can you break it down for me? Like, what's the basic setup that Coolores used?
Sure. So he used a vector database. It's a way of storing information that's really efficient for AI. And then he combined that with something called retrieval augmented generation, RAG for short.
RAG. Catchy.
I know, right? Basically, what R does is it lets the AI go out and grab relevant info from all sorts of different places, and then it can use that info to, answer your questions, do tasks, that sort of thing.
So it's like giving the AI a superpowered research assistant.
Exactly. And here's what's really cool. He talks about building multiple brains.
Brains, plural.
Yep. Like one brain might be for marketing, another brain might be for HR, another one for finance, and each brain has its own little library of data and a set of instructions tailored for those tasks.
So you can have a whole team of AI specialists, each with their own area of expertise.
Exactly, and you build it all yourself.
I love it. Okay, let's hear about these brains in action. What can they actually do?
Okay, get ready to be amazed. First up, the marketing brain. Coolers wanted to see if he could create an AI that could really understand a target audience.
A specific audience, not just like general marketing advice.
Right. So he created this whole persona, a fictional person. Her name's Annie Schönhauser, and she's a 25-year-old literature student living in Berlin.
Wait, he gave the AI a whole backstory.
He did. He gave it all sorts of details about Annie, her interests, her lifestyle, even her favorite places to hang out in Berlin. Because the more info you give the AI, the more realistic and nuanced its responses become.
It's like giving the AI a friend to bounce ideas off of.
Yeah.
A friend who perfectly represents your target market.
Yeah. And then Kouloures could test his marketing ideas on Annie. He could ask her what she thought, get her feedback, see what worked and what didn't.
It's like having your own personal focus group, but made up of the perfect customer.
Exactly. And it's not just about getting feedback. It's about using AI to understand how real people think and feel.
Fascinating. Okay, so next brain. What about HR?
Okay, so the HR brain. This one's all about inclusion and understanding. So imagine this. You're hiring for a head of generative AI.
Okay, I'm imagining. Go on.
And you have this candidate. Super talented, great experience, but they also happen to have Asperger's and ADHD.
Interesting. It's kind of perfect, in a way. Challenging assumptions about who thrives in these tech roles.
Right. So Kouloures gave this scenario to the AI, and he basically said, okay, analyze this. What are the potential challenges? What are the benefits?
So he's using the AI to, check his own biases, see things from a different perspective.
I think that's a huge part of it. And the AI, because it has access to so much information, was able to give the really balanced answer. Like, yeah, there might be some difficulties with, say, social interactions or staying focused, but this candidate might also bring some amazing strengths to the table.
Strengths that someone without those conditions might not have.
Exactly. And the AI even went a step further. It suggested things that the company could do to make the workplace more supportive.
Like accommodations?
Yeah, things like flexible hours, maybe noise-canceling headphones, that kind of thing. And it also said that, the team should learn about Asperger's and ADHD, build a culture of understanding.
Wow. It's like the AI is a champion for neurodiversity, helping companies go beyond just checking boxes and creating workplaces where everyone can thrive.
Powerful stuff. And it's just one example of how AI can help us build better organizations.
Okay, I'm ready for the next brain. What did Kouloures do with content creation?
He built a content strategy brain, and this one was all about LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Interesting choice.
No, right? But he had a specific goal. He wanted to use AI to create a content strategy that would make him like a thought leader in the AI space, stand out from the crowd.
Oh, yeah. I think everyone who's ever used LinkedIn can relate to that. So how do you do it?
Well, he fed the AI all kinds of information, like the current business landscape, trends in AI, and even his own resume, his skills, his experience.
So he basically gave the AI a crash course in all things Elias Kouloures.
Exactly. And then he challenged it. He said, okay, come up with an amazing content strategy, and it totally delivered.
Really? What I recommend?
It came up with 20 different content format ideas. Each one had a catchy name and a clear description.
I love a good catchy name. Give me some examples.
Okay, so one was called Value Prop. The idea there was to offer like free resources, guides, templates, things people could download.
Nice. Very practical. What else?
Another one was Idea Bulb. That was all about sharing like out-of-the-box ideas, things to get people thinking and talking.
I like that. Provocative.
And my personal favorite, Role Play.
Role play. Like what? For LinkedIn?
Yeah. The idea was to post in the voice of like an AI assistant.
Oh, that's brilliant. I can already imagine the funny takes on current events. I might have to steal that idea.
Go for it. And that's just one platform, right? One brain focused on LinkedIn. Imagine what you could do if you applied this to your whole content strategy.
Whoa, the possibilities are endless. Okay, let's move on. What about the financial analysis brain?
This is where things get really impressive. Kouloures took hundreds of pages of BMW's financial reports.
Hundreds of pages. Wow.
Yep. And he basically gave them to the AI and said, okay, impress me.
Talk about a challenge. So what happened? Did the AI pass the test?
Oh, it aced it.
Yeah.
It analyzed all those reports, created charts and graphs showing like key financial stuff from the past 10 years, and it even came up with an investment recommendation.
Now you're making me wish I had this AI as my financial advisor.
Right. But here's what I thought was really cool. Coors had the AI present all this analysis in two different ways.
Two ways, like
Yeah.
what? A simplified version and a complex version.
Exactly. One was like super professional, using all the fancy financial jargon, and the other one explained everything as if he was talking to a 5-year-old.
Oh, I love that. Making complex stuff understandable for anyone, no matter what their background is.
Yep. It's like having a financial expert who can also like explain things to your kid.
Okay, last brain. Hit me with it.
Okay, this one's called the Blue Ocean Strategy Brain. It's all about finding those like untapped markets.
Blue oceans. I love that concept. So how did Kouloures use AI to explore this? Did he just, like, ask it to predict the future?
He did something even cooler. He fed the AI a ton of info about, the global market, what's happening in the world, all the competition in the AI space, especially Elon Musk's new company, XAI. And then he gave it a challenge.
Okay, what was the challenge?
He said, find 3 blue ocean strategies for companies like OpenAI and Anthropic, companies that are all about LLMs.
So he's not just asking the AI to analyze what already exists, he's asking to come up with brand new ideas.
Exactly. And the AI came through. It came up with 3 distinct blue ocean strategies, each with like potential scenarios and even business models. It was like having a whole team of strategy consultants, but powered by AI.
That's insane. I'm dying to hear about these strategies. Tell me, what did the AI come up with?
All right, strategy number 1, using LLMs for scientific discovery.
Whoa. Okay, elaborate.
Imagine an AI that can like generate hypotheses, figure out what's going to happen in an experiment before you even do it, even design like new molecules.
So we're talking about AI that could actually speed up scientific breakthroughs. That would be huge.
Huge is an understatement. And the AI suggested targeting this technology at like all sorts of research teams, pharmaceuticals, biotech, materials science, even universities.
I can see that. It could revolutionize how we do research.
Yeah.
What about strategy number 2?
Okay, this one's about personalized education. Think of it like this. An AI tutor.
An AI tutor.
Yeah, it can figure out your strengths, your weaknesses, what you're good at, what you struggle with, and then it creates custom learning materials just for you, and it adjusts as you go based on how you're doing.
It's like having a personal AI teacher. That's amazing.
I know, right? And the AI thought this could be used in schools, universities, even by people just learning on their own. Like, imagine how much more accessible education could be.
I love that. Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. What's the final blue ocean strategy?
Get ready for this one. The AI suggests using LLMs to power self-driving systems, and I mean fully autonomous.
Wait, are we talking about cars that can drive themselves, like, for real? No human needed.
Yep. The AI thinks that LLMs, because they're so good at understanding what they see and making decisions based on that, they could be the key to finally making driverless cars a reality.
That's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Think of how that would change everything. Transportation, logistics, even how we design cities.
It's huge. And the AI even came up with specific scenarios, like maybe companies could offer pre-trained LLMs specifically for driving in certain conditions like snow or heavy traffic, or they could create virtual worlds where you can test out your self-driving system before you put it on the road.
It's incredible to think that we might be closer to that future than we realize.
Mm.
And the fact that Kouloures did all this with open source tools on a tiny budget in just a few weeks is really inspiring. But I have to ask, how did he manage to do it so quickly and affordably?
Well, let's break down his timeline and his investment.
Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty.
All right, so remember, it took Kouloures, the AI expert, 15 days to build the whole system and all those amazing use cases.
15 days. Got it.
And Pascal Gula, the IT guy, he needed a day and a half just for the cloud setup, the virtual machine, all that tech stuff.
So under 3 weeks to go from zero to fully functional AI system.
Yeah.
That's wild. But how much did all this cost? Did he have to shell out a ton of cash?
That's the crazy part. The open source AI framework itself, totally free. Though Kouloures does say, if you find it useful, maybe donate to the developers, support the community,
Yeah, that's the beauty of open source,
Yeah.
paying it forward. But what about the other costs, like using the cloud, storing all that data? That stuff adds up, right?
It can, but he kept it super low. He spent about 20 euros on Google Cloud, that's for the virtual machine, for the whole 15 days. Then the GPT API and OpenAI word embeddings, that was about 4 euros, but he thinks you could actually get that down to 0 with a few tweaks. And then the Supabase vector database, he used about 3% of a 250 gigabyte pro account. That was roughly 25 euros.
Hold on, let me do the math. So all in, we're talking less than 50 euros. To build an AI that can do all of this, that's insane.
Yeah. Right. That's exactly what Kouloures wants everyone to understand. This technology is powerful. And it's way more affordable than people think. It's not just for, the big guys anymore.
It really levels the playing field.
Yeah.
Opens up all these possibilities for small businesses, for entrepreneurs, even for, regular people who want to explore this stuff.
Totally. But Kouloures is also honest about the challenges. He's like, look, open source AI, it requires a different way of thinking. You're the one responsible for setting it up, for keeping it running, for security, all that. There's no, tech giant holding your hand.
Yeah, you need to be a little more tech savvy, maybe willing to get your hands dirty. It's not as simple as just clicking a button.
True. But for those who are willing to put in the effort, the payoff is huge. You have complete control. Your data, your system, you're not tied to anyone else's rules.
It's like building your own house versus buying one that's already made.
Yeah.
You get to design it exactly how you want it.
Perfect analogy. And, Kouloures isn't just talking about this stuff. He's encouraging people to actually go out and experiment. Try it for themselves. He even put together a whole roadmap of use cases, to get people thinking.
A roadmap, huh? What kind of stuff is on there?
Well, he starts with the short-term stuff. Things like using AI chatbots for customer support. Automating tasks like translating your marketing materials into different languages and using AI to really dig into your data and make better business decisions. He even talks about using AI in HR to streamline all those processes and in research and development to speed things up. Oh, and creating personalized training materials for employees.
Wow. It really does seem like AI can be applied to every part of a business. So what about the midterm stuff? Does it get a little more futuristic?
Oh, yeah. He starts talking about AI that can understand images and videos, not just text. So imagine, AI that can look at a medical scan and like figure out what's going
Mm.
on, or AI that can look at a technical drawing and understand it, or even AI that can like watch a video and tell you how people are feeling.
That's incredible. It's like giving AI eyes and a brain to actually like see and understand the world the way we do. Okay, I'm ready for the long-term stuff. What does he see way out on the horizon?
All right, fasten your seatbelts. He talks about a future where AI is like deeply woven into our lives, almost like a partner working alongside us. He's got AI helping teams work together better, creating these like seamless experiences for customers no matter how they're interacting with your company, and even using visual data to make big strategic decisions. Oh, and real-time language translation. No more language barriers. And AI keeping workers safe on the job and managing entire fleets of like self-driving cars and trucks.
It's a future where AI isn't just a tool. It's like part of the fabric of how we do things, how we solve problems, how we create. It's exciting, but it's also a little, I don't know, intimidating.
I get it. It's powerful stuff. And
Yeah.
it really is up to us to make sure we're using it the right way,
Okay.
ethically, for good.
Mm.
Whether you're working with those big tech companies, supporting the startups, or diving into the open source world, we all have a role to play in shaping the future of AI.
Could have said it better myself. So, to our listeners, what impossible problem could you solve if you had this kind of power at your fingertips? What would you create? What would you change?
Well, Kouloures has this great quote on his website, eliaskouloures.com. He says, Kaltor etek korsauter fatvai duik gridi komin vashau torfawak.
I have absolutely no idea what that means, but it definitely sounds like a challenge, something worth exploring.
It is. And who knows, maybe, just maybe, with the help of AI, we can all contribute to taking humanity to that next level. That Kardashev civilization we talked about.
Maybe we can reach for the stars after all. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.